Okay, as far as week 5, what we're looking at, let's break it up by the conference, the good conference games. Let's start with the Pac-12. There's a couple good conference games in Pac-12. UCLA and Arizona State, they both had a bye week last week. And so they're both coming into this undefeated.
It's a Thursday night game, and this is interesting to me. They're both coming in undefeated. And people have said Arizona State's been really talented, just not really had the coaching it needed in the past couple of years to be a top team. And now they're going against UCLA, who beat Texas last week, but once again has been struggling and kind of slow so far in the first couple of games.
Yes, I agree. UCLA, though, they have tremendous talent, so they are going to be able to bring the power. Will Arizona State be able to respond to that? Do you think it's upset or not?
I'm going to say this one could go either way.
Okay, all right. Let's move to Stanford at Washington. Stanford, we've seen some weaknesses, obviously. We've seen some weaknesses there. How about Washington, though? They haven't really shined in their initial games.
You know, the one game that I thought was upset alert for Washington was at Illinois, and they got and crushed Illinois. Yeah. Which I'm like, how do you struggle against a team like Hawaii. And then they've struggled against really not that great of a team, great teams in my opinion, and then they crush Illinois. So I think it just depends on the mentality that they have coming into it and the coaching that Peterson and his crew were able to do to get them hyped for the game.
Yeah, so you think Washington could pull the upset here?
I think this is one of my upset games of the week.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think they've got the potential there. I think this could make for a good game. Oregon State, our last one, Oregon State at USC. USC, you know, they got beat by Boston College, so they're coming into this. You think Oregon State's saying,
Oregon State's undefeated up to this point.
Yeah.
Once again, they really haven't played anybody either. Can they beat USC? I think they can. Will they? I don't think so.
Okay. You think USC is going to bounce back?
I think USC will be able to bounce back and beat Oregon State.
Okay. So the teams that are shining in Pac-12 right now, we've got Oregon.
Right.
They're still looking good.
They're number
UCLA,
one probably in that.
They're still looking good, but maybe some ifs in there. Not super sure.
I think it's a big week for Pac-12 conference-wise.
It'll answer a lot of questions. ACC, probably really only one good game in that one.
Right.
As we're looking at Florida State going to North Carolina State, undefeated North Carolina State.
Which, here's another one of my upsets.
Because Florida State just had a real struggle with Clemson.
Florida State just had a pretty physical game against Clemson. They're tired. NC State's 4-0. They haven't played anybody. I mean, nobody. But at the same time, this is number one team in the nation. You're undefeated. You're coming here. They're going to your stadium.
Yeah.
And Florida State, I just think they're beatable.
Even without Winston last week, you know, there were. I'm sure North Carolina State's looking at that and saying, "Hey, we've got a chance here. We could do something here."
So that's another one of my upset picks of the week. Just to see what'll happen.
Yeah, and we'll see. You know, it's very likely that Winston will get suspended again. So
it's possible.
Who knows what might happen? Stand up on the table in the middle of the cafeteria and say something else. Who knows? Okay, let's move over from the ACC to the SEC. A couple games worthy of note. The first one,
not so much.
Not so worthy. Tennessee at Georgia. Georgia shouldn't have any trouble with
They
Tennessee.
just annihilated Troy last week.
Well, which
wasn't a very surprising.
Yeah, that was not really. Yeah, we don't want to mention that one really because that's
Todd Gurley's still up for Heisman. He's still a good running back. He struggled against South Carolina a little bit. Still got a good bit of yards. Can Tennessee slow them down? I don't think so. I think this will be a pretty large win for Georgia.
As far as South Carolina again, Missouri is now going to be at South Carolina.
Now,
Missouri,
I think, will be more interesting. Missouri did just lose, but
yes, they did
to Indiana. Maybe Indiana is better than we think they are. But I think that they're going to come back and beat South Carolina because I just feel like Missouri is not a bad team. Just because you lose to Indiana doesn't mean you're a bad team. They're going to come here, I think.
Maybe South Carolina could make the mistake of thinking, hey,
they just lost to Indiana.
They just lost to Indiana.
So that's another.
You never know with college football. That could very well happen. All right, let's move out of the SEC and move on to the Big 12. And in the Big 12, we've got Texas Tech, and they're going to be playing Oklahoma. So now it's their turn. They're going to be playing. Texas Tech is going to be playing Oklahoma State. That's right. So what do we expect there? Oklahoma State going to dominate Texas Tech?
I don't think there's any dominating going on between these two teams anywhere in the season because I don't think they're that great of teams. I think it'll be a pretty close game coming down to the end of it. Both teams trying to figure out what the other team can do. They're both 2-1. Not bad, just not great either.
Okay. All right. How about as far as talking about Big Ten? Ohio State's going to host Cincinnati, and so what do you think the Bearcats' chance is against Ohio State?
I think it's higher than most people give them credit for because Ohio State
has shown a lot of holes.
Has shown a lot of holes.
Yeah.
It's a very iffy position for Ohio State right now because losing Braxton Miller in the beginning of the season and now still trying to figure out what really they're trying to do offensively and defensively, in my opinion. They're just trying to work things out right now. Can Cincinnati use that to their advantage is the question. I'm going to go ahead and say Ohio State will win this game, in my opinion, but it'll be close.
All right. All right, so that's our NCAA Week 5 picks and our outlook on the week. See you later from Chiang Mai.